Okay, so we're going to talk about the unit circle, and that's going to introduce us to trigonometric functions, okay? And you knew that trigonometry was going to be part of this class, hopefully, and there's quite a bit of foundational work we need to lay down. If you don't understand it all, you can use the book, you can use the videos, but the more you practice it and the more you work with it, the more understanding you'll gain. But there's quite a bit of information in this section, not so many examples, but a lot of information. Okay, by a unit circle, what we mean is that the radius is equal to 1. So say you have a point here on the circle, then from the origin to that point, that would be the radius, okay? And we're saying that that radius equals 1. Okay. As we look at this, if we think about an angle then in standard position, because we've worked with that, there's this measurement here, and we're going to call that t. Okay? So we're sweeping the circle in a positive direction. This would be our initial ray and then side, and then we're going this way to the terminal side where that point is. Okay, so the ray that's going through that point. All right. Now, we know from other work that this, let's see, what color should I use? This part right here forms an arc. We'll call that arc S. And we know that if t is measured in radians, then S is equal to R times T. Now that comes from how you find the length of an arc. So T is the angle, and R is the radius. And that's measured in, the angle is measured in radians. Okay, but R is just 1 because it's a unit circle. So you get S equal to T. So that arc length S has the same value as this radian measurement for that angle. Okay? So that's kind of where we're starting. Now, the coordinate system that we have, the axes, this is like the x-axis, the y-axis, it's the rectangular coordinate system or the Cartesian coordinate system still. If you remember, when we have an x-axis and a y-axis, it divides the plane into 4 quadrants. 4 quadrants. Now this becomes a big deal in trigonometry because we almost always care what quadrant we're in. Okay, so quadrant 1, we label them with Roman numerals, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay? And right now we have this drawn in quadrant 1. Okay, so right here, so here's our new concept. Right here is a point. That point has an x and y value. It's in the plane. So kind of forget about the circle. Think about a point that you've graphed, and it has coordinates x and y. Now, what does that mean? So, if you think about it in the old days, okay, here's a point out there. It means that you went so many units this way, dot, 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 x, and then you went up, y, okay, like that, right? Okay, so for us, we're going this way, and that's going to be our x units, and then we're going to this way, oops, this way, and that is y. All right, by definition for our functions, x is equal to the cosine of t. Okay, so I guess I've already started talking about cosines, and I'm going to talk about sine in a minute. So cosine, the function is abbreviated cosine of, and then you're going to have some value in there. Now, sometimes they put the parentheses like I did there, sometimes they don't, like I did there. Okay? Sometimes the parentheses are a big deal. It depends on what your argument is. This is a function. Okay? So that would be the cosine x is equal to the cosine of t, and then y is going to equal the sine, and there's the function notation of t. So sine, spelled that way, and the notation for it is sine, the function, kind of like logarithm, you used log. For sine, you use sin. For cosine, you use cos. Okay, we'll talk more about this in the next video.